Welcome to the show, the first DFS Daily Fantasy Sports episode for the NFL Fantasy Football 2021 season. I'm excited to give you guys optimal plays here every single Wednesday, guys. So turn it on, subscribe, follow, put it in your calendar. Join me here for optimal plays at every position every Wednesday here. We're talking daily fantasy sports, guys. I want to let you know, if you don't know, if you're living under a rock, you guys know this, football is here. It's actually here, and there's no better place to play daily fantasy than DraftKings. Download the app. Use promo code FFLion for Fantasy Football Lion. FFLion. Download the DraftKings app. They are the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Guys, listen. I mean, this is huge. You get to draft every single week. That's why you guys are here. If you guys enjoy daily fantasy, that's why you're here. You're sick of the year long. You're sick of injuries. You're sick of just drafting once a year. But DraftKings is a place to do it. You got a shot at $1 million week one. Set your team under the salary. You guys are all set. You know how to play daily fantasy. If you don't, I'm telling you guys, just DM me at Fantasy Football Counselor on Instagram. I'll give you guys some tips. But DraftKings right now, go download the app right now, guys. Download the app, use promo code FFLion, and you're all set. Understand a minimum of $5 deposit is required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details. Go do that now. FFLion is the code on DraftKings. Go download the app. Let's get to the show. All right, guys, welcome to the show. We're talking optimal DFS plays for week one. Remember, download the DraftKings app, use promo code FFLion to get set up so you actually have a place to play daily fantasy, okay? If you're new, this is going to help you guys a lot. Now, understand, guys, couple things. I did create a group, okay? It's called Fantasy 365, where I hand deliver every single week to you all the optimal plays, all the value plays, everything you need, guys, in one spot. Fantasy 365, I've linked it below. Season pass, a lot of people charge a monthly payment. I don't like that. This is a one-time price, and it's super affordable to get in. I want the community to be massive. I don't want to make it free, because if you make something free, people take advantage of it, and you're going to get a lot of people that don't take it seriously. But I also don't want to gouge people and make it expensive, right? So I priced it super fair, guys. Get in. There's a link here below on YouTube, or head on over to thefantasyfootballaccounts.com under programs. It's called Fantasy 365 Mastermind. You can just Google it. You'll find it. I deliver all the optimal plays, waiver wires, community chat, fellow lines, all in one spot. Get it below. And of course, guys, this show is brought to you by manscaped.com. Head on over there, use promo code SHOWERLINE, save yourself 20%. Manscaped.com, amazing products, fit and finish, skin-safe technology, navigational light, everything you need. This is the Lawnmower 3.0, got the 4.0 behind me. Great products, underwear, ball wipes. Go head on over there right now. Use promo code SHOWERLINE, treat yourself. All right, optimal plays, week one, football's here. I don't even know what to say. I'm over the top excited, okay? Now, if you are playing daily fantasy, again, I play on DraftKings. Use that promo code FFLion, you're all set, okay? Let's get to it. Now, what type of games you like to play? It depends. I mean, I like to play, some popular featured games. I like to play with, I don't want those people that have super multi entries. I like minimum entries, because a lot of people have algorithms and, they have, software that basically they set up and they pump in 50 lineups, and, it makes it harder for you to win. So I like to limit. I don't like to spend I don't like to be in those $500 ones. I like to spend, $10, $15 shots and try to get into a room that, doesn't have too many people, but doesn't have too small amount of people, because I like to have a big prize pool when I play. So that's just me. I like to find that sweet spot in regards to my buy-in, in regards to the amount of people in the matchup as well. And, I like to have that balance and minimal entries. I don't like to have the too many people in on that as well, but multiple lineups, that is. All right. So that's what I like to do. Again, I like to spend 10, 15, 20 bucks. And I like to do a couple of them a week. Okay. So the secret, again, to winning at daily fantasy, what I find is those guys that are like the value guys, like those wide receivers that have those big breakout games. Okay. So you got to have a good balance of guys that are going to be consistent and guys that are going to be, could have a big breakout week based on matchup. Okay. An opportunity. So let's go to every position and give you guys some optimal plays at each position. And I'll go over a couple of values as well. Again, everything's in that Fantasy 365 community. Starting off with the quarterback position here, I really like this week particularly Trevor Lawrence. He's playing Houston. Now, we don't know. Week one is very hard because defenses could change. Now, the way that, I've kind of set this up and done my research is based on last year's matchup. So when I say, okay, Trevor Lawrence got a good matchup against defense, Houston, he does. He's got like this 5th easiest matchup versus position against Houston, because this is kind of based on last year. Now, Houston could have, picked up their game and done a lot better this year. So it takes around 2 to 3, 4 weeks to really things to fizzle out. Then you get a good feel as to who's who and who's a good defense and who's really starting to do well. So the first week is always tough, but there's advantages because you can get a lot of guys at good value that could break out as well. So Trevor Lawrence is the guy I like at quarterback. We'll go quarterback. We'll move our way running back, wide receiver, tight end. And I'll give you some defenses I like. Okay. Trevor Lawrence against Houston could have a big game, relatively good, easy matchup. Pat Mahomes against Cleveland has got a good matchup, but you're going to pay Trevor Lawrence. You're paying $6,200 on DraftKings. And then Pat Mahomes, you're paying $8,100, but good matchup. If you want to anchor your team with an ace quarterback, Mahomes is it. Value play, good matchup versus Seattle, Carson Wentz. Again, hopefully he's coming back. He's healthy. He's good to go. Ryan Fitzmagic has got a relatively easy matchup versus the Chargers, $5,500, good value there as well. So when you look at quarterbacks, those are guys with good matchups that are, a mixed bag. So you got some value, you got some expensive guys. Kyler Murray's got an easy matchup as well. A value play who's got a good matchup, 3rd easiest matchup versus position against Jacksonville is Tyrod Taylor. Do you trust him? I mean, he's got to probably come out gunslinging there. $5,300 if you want a value quarterback. And again, if you want all my value plays, guys that are going to be good with tougher matchups, all the breakdown, Fantasy 365, I deliver it to you. But those are some guys with some optimal matchups as well. Some safe plays, Ryan Tannehill, Matt Ryan, some safe plays, mid-range matchups, and a couple guys that have tough matchups, even though I love them, is Aaron Rodgers and Justin Herbert, okay? Now, understand, guys, I will be doing a start-sits episode where I dive into more of this based on guys that have tough matchups and guys that have weak matchups. All of that's going to be in my starts and sits episode, and that I'm going to be putting out. I'm just checking my schedule. It's all brand new. Fridays. Fridays is going to be my starts and sits, so make sure you guys do, in fact, click the subscribe button, and we're going to be talking starts and sits, okay? So that's quarterbacks. Again, make sure you guys balance your roster. I like to anchor my team with an ace quarterback for daily fantasy to make sure I get those guaranteed points, okay? Now, looking at the running back positions based on all 16 games, including the Thursday game. That's why I like to do the show on Wednesday. But understand, guys, injuries happen, things happen that change between now and Sunday. Keep that in mind. I used to do this Saturday, but we're missing on the Thursday game. A lot of people want to play DFS on Thursday as well, which is understandable. It's the first game back. Let's dive in, play, right? A couple guys I really like here based on optimal matchup. I'm really excited about James Robinson. He's playing Houston. He's got a really good matchup. And he's $6,400. That's not bad considering if you wanted to start a guy like Christian McCaffrey, who's got a mid-range matchup, he's $9,500. So I kind of like the value there with James Robinson. And, he's got a chip on his shoulder this year simply because what happened with ATN, them drafting him early, then getting injured. He's got to prove himself. Like, I'm the guy. I showed you last year. I'm the guy. You know what I'm saying? A couple other value or some good matchups, actually. I'm not sold on him, but he's got a good matchup. Joe Mixon, $6,200 on DraftKings. Alvin Kamara has actually got a good matchup. They just released Latavius Murray from there. Going to be interesting. Hopefully get some more volume. There's a guy named Tony Jones Jr. Going to be interesting to see if he gets volume. He's a huge value at $4,000 this week. Not a guy I'm starting, but hey, I mean, if Latavius Murray's gone, Tony Jones could be a good value play at $4,000. Other guys that have really good matchups, Dalvin Cook does have a good matchup against Cincy. A very good one, but you're going to be paying $9,100 on DraftKings in your salary. Do you want to invest that? That's something you got to consider. I'm giving you other options that are a little more cost effective. If you're looking at Nick Chubb, $7,200, pretty good matchup as well. And this is interesting, a good value play. The Jets are playing Carolina. Rush defense, not the greatest going into the season projected. It's going to be interesting to see, again, how this all fizzles out if these defenses, everything starts adjusting as we start learning more about the defenses. But based on matchup, Michael Carter, $4,000, could be a value play. Is he going to get the volume, or are they going to start integrating Tevin Coleman and Ty Johnson? Possibly Coleman could be the starter, but he can't stay healthy. Hopefully Michael Carter gets the go, but maybe not early in the season, okay? And again, I like Javonte Williams at $4,000 this week. He's got a mid-range matchup, could be really good. And Najee Harris, $6,300, playing Buffalo, a slightly tougher matchup, mid-range. I say it's a mid-range matchup, not going to be easy, but a guy that you may want to consider at $6,300. Not bad. He's going to get the volume and opportunity. Saquon Barkley, a lot of people asking me about him. From what I hear, I've been talking to some Giants insiders. From what I hear about Saquon Barkley is this. I believe, I don't have the schedule out. From what I heard, I think they have a Thursday night game right after. So they're playing, I believe, Sunday, and I believe they're playing the Thursday, meaning, from what I'm hearing, that they may preserve him game one. This is what I'm hearing. Yeah, they are playing Washington football team on September 16th at 8:20. That being the case, Saquon may be preserved. Be cautious starting him week one in year-long and daily fantasy, okay? So optimal matchups for wide receiver. Moving on here, guys, okay? Again, it's up to you guys with wide receiver. Use your gut. There is a bunch of guys that could have boom type of games. We see that. We saw Sammy Watkins a year or two ago have that boom game early on, then he crapped to bed the entire season, right? So you got to get those guys sometimes when they have those boom type games, okay? So guys that have good matchups against Atlanta, anyone from the Eagles, right? Even Hurts has a pretty good matchup, actually. I forgot to mention him. But Devontae Smith, could it be a breakout game? Who knows? Jalen Reagor, who's going to be the guy there? But they're pretty good value. Devontae Smith, 4,500. Jalen Reagor, 3,700 on DraftKings. And good value. I mean, good value and easy matchup, okay? Other guys, all the wide receivers from the Buccaneers have good matchup, but then again, you're rolling the dice as to who is the wide receiver one. We don't know. I think Antonio Brown, from what Arians is saying, that Brown is looking in the best shape of his life. I don't know if I believe it. Maybe he is, but you're looking at volume distribution because Godwin and Evans are there, okay? Other good matchups here, Debo Samuel, Ayuk. You're paying $5,900 for Debo, Ayuk $5,700. DeAndre Hopkins, great matchup, but you're going to pay $7,800, okay? He is playing Tennessee, pretty decent matchup for him. I like the matchup here. We got Cincinnati at Minnesota. Bengals receivers all have good matchups, but who is the one? We saw Jamar Chase struggling in preseason. Is Higgins going to be the guy? Higgins is the best value out of the three at $4,700, a guy that could boom in week one based on matchup, okay? Good matchup. I like DJ Shark here at $5,800. I believe he's the wide receiver one on the team. LaVisca at $5,000. Anyone from Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence, I think there's some good combinations you could play in DFS this week based on matchup playing Houston. Going to be exciting to see some boom potential there with Trevor Lawrence and one of these wide receivers. Maybe you can combo them in a lineup and have some good upside there for you. Chiefs, obviously good matchup versus Cleveland. Tyreek Hill. You're going to have to pay $8,200. I like the value here of Mecole Hardman at $4,800. $4,800, Mecole Hardman, a guy that could boom. And now he is the wide receiver, too, on that team. Could be exciting. But, again, you get those crazy games where Byron Pringle goes for, 10 touchdowns or something crazy. Like, I'm over-exaggerating. But, Tyreek Hill at $8,200, you could roll the dice on a wild card and get a Mecole Hardman, DeMarcus Robinson, or Pringle, whatever tickles your fancy that week. And one of those guys could go off and good value. Calvin Ridley, good price this week good matchup this week, but expensive price at $7,900 versus the Eagles. Russell Gage coming in a lot cheaper at $5,300. Could get some opportunity. And Russell Gage, could be interesting to gauge Russell Gage week one with Julio Jones being out. Going to be interesting to see if Calvin Ridley can handle the double coverage and if Russell Gage is going to be open for Matt Ryan, okay? Another good value play with a decent matchup is Michael Pittman at $4,100. Let me give you one more here before we're off. I'll give you a mid-range matchup situation here. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Metcalf at $7,500, Lockett at $6,700. Mid-range matchup versus Indy. Not the greatest matchup, but guys that could have put up some points this week. Metcalf due for a monster season, theoretically. Big touchdown guy this year. I think he's going to have a good season, okay? So those are your wide receivers. Take some chance at wide receiver, guys. You'll have a real good opportunity to have some boom type of potential, guys, and, fit that budget, right? Let's move on here to tight end when we're looking at some guys that have good matchups. We got, now this guy here, I'm not really sold on, but Dan Arnold versus the Jets. It's going to be interesting to see who the tight end one is there, but I'm not really trusting tight ends. I'm just telling you that Carolina tight ends do have a good matchup this week. Kelsey's got a phenomenal matchup, but you're paying huge dollars. You're paying $8,300 for Travis Kelce. Moving along here, this is going to be interesting here, but Pittsburgh tight ends, Pat Freiermuth has got a decent matchup versus Buffalo. They don't play tight ends that tough, but Pat Freiermuth could, Eric Ebron, all those guys. But Pat Freiermuth, the rookie, could be a good value, $2,500 this week. We saw him in preseason have about 2 touchdowns in that last game there, okay? Logan Thomas is going to be an interesting tight end to start this week, I think, with Washington playing the Chargers. Good matchup versus position, $4,600, a little more expensive, not as cheap as Pat Freiermuth, but set to have probably more volume theoretically, okay? Kyle Pitts, who I absolutely love, $4,400 week 1. Playing Philly, pretty decent matchup as well. A lot of people ask about George Kittle. George Kittle's got a mid-range matchup this week, $6,300 though. You're going to pay for George Kittle, and he doesn't have the easiest matchup. But again, guys, sometimes matchups don't make or break it. This is just based on paper. I want to get that out, right? It's based on, what we're seeing on paper, based on matchups, right? Based on defense. But some of these guys that have the tougher matchups still end up performing really well based on volume, opportunity, talent. They get open, they put up the points, right? I'm just telling you guys based on matchups, all right? Let's move on here to the defense. The best defense to start this week. Now, in year long, I like to start the best defense. So if I have the Rams, I may start them, right? I may start Pittsburgh, that type of thing. If I do have a better defense to rotate out, I kind of like, if I have a lot of depth on my year long, I like to have 2 top defenses, and I can rotate better matchups. If not, I tend to stream defenses. That's why I like daily fantasy. You're able to stream. But I think the Jets could be a good team. Now, on paper, the way that we're looking at this, the way they've got this projected, the Jets are a bad team, right? But, Zach Wilson come out firing, Elijah Moore catching a couple touchdowns. They could tear it up. They are playing the Panthers. So the Panthers, again, based kind of on last year's projection, Panthers have the easiest matchup versus position, but you got to be careful, right? Jets could come out firing week 1. We don't know, and again, that's why it takes about 2 to 3 to 4 weeks to really adjust, okay? Falcons have a pretty decent matchup, but we don't know what Hurts is capable of, right? Like, we're going kind of off last year. Atlanta, $2,000, really good, easy matchup versus position. Chargers versus Washington have a good matchup, but we don't know, right? Fitzmagic could come out and make some magic, right? But Chargers have a good matchup versus Washington. Buccaneers versus Dallas, but again, we don't know, right? Again, you got to be careful with defense, feel it out, try to start the best possible defense, but I'm giving you guys based on good matchups, right? The Dolphins have a good matchup versus New England, but we don't know what Mac Jones can do, right? It's going to be very, very interesting. Broncos have a good matchup. Lions versus San Fran. Vikings versus Cincinnati. All good matchups versus position. Now, if you want to get those good defenses, Colts have a good defense, but they are playing Seattle. Going to be a little interesting to see how that plays out. Patriots versus Miami, mid-range matchup. Rams are playing the Bears. That could also be a good defensive matchup, all right? So, again, with Daily Fantasy, I want to just get this out. Every Wednesday, come here for more information like this. I'm giving you some solid plays that you can plug in, but it's up to you to kind of do some research, feel it out, take a look at the matchups. I'm going to be helping you here on Wednesday, but also my Fantasy 365 community. There's a whole community where we do starts and sits, and everybody dives in to help you guys with those questions. So I've linked it here below, Fantasy 365. Just go find it. Join the community, guys. It's not a season, it's a season pass. You don't got to pay monthly. And you got a whole bunch of real people, community lions to help you guys out. And, of course, my Start Sits episode is really going to help you out on Friday as well, where I give you guys all the guys that have tough matchups and really, really dive into that a little more hardcore. So if you play DFS hardcore, this episode, Friday, and the combination of Fantasy 365, you'll be extremely successful in fantasy, daily fantasy this year, okay? Go download the DraftKings app. Use promo code FFLion, guys. Subscribe. We're going year long. Football's here. Let's get excited, guys. We'll talk soon. Smash thumbs up, and I'm out. Talk soon.